Ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference between a woman who is alive and a woman who is awake. Intelligence is not simply the accumulation of knowledge. It is the discernment to apply truth in a way that advances purpose. A highly intelligent woman is not defined by titles or accolades. She may wear heels or flats, sit in a boardroom or raise children, but what distinguishes her is that she has discovered the power of self-governance. Her habits are not formed by culture but by conviction. A highly intelligent woman understands that the mind is the command center of her life. Everything she becomes, everything she does, and everything she builds flows from the condition of her mental environment. She knows that her mind is not just a storage space for memories or ideas. It is the soil where vision is conceived, strategies are formed, and decisions are birthed. Because of this, she is fiercely intentional about what she allows to enter her thoughts. She is aware that not all content is neutral. Some words carry weight. Some images leave residue. Some conversations leave seeds that, if unguarded, will grow into confusion, fear, bitterness, or insecurity. She does not entertain gossip because she understands that gossip does more than damage others. It pollutes her own atmosphere. She doesn't binge on shallow entertainment or unhealthy media, not because she lacks interest in enjoyment, but because she has discernment. She is not against pleasure, but she is against pollution. What she watches, what she reads, what she listens to, all are filtered through the lens of wisdom and purpose. If it does not feed her vision, elevate her understanding, or draw her closer to her assignment, she knows it does not deserve a seat at the table of her focus. This woman understands that everything begins with a thought. Every stronghold in life started as a suggestion. Every fear began with a whisper. Every temptation began with exposure. The enemy of progress never has to use chains when he can use ideas, so she is vigilant. She doesn't just protect her body, she protects her beliefs. She doesn't just guard her home, she guards her inner atmosphere. Because she understands that the greatest battles are not fought on the outside, but in the theater of the mind. She is mindful of conversations. She surrounds herself with people who speak life, not death, vision, not vanity. She is careful of who she allows to pour into her because she knows that counsel is powerful. Words carry spirit, and every voice in your life is either building you or breaking you. She has learned that not everyone should have access to her mental space. Just because a person has a loud voice does not mean they have earned the right to speak into her life. She curates her environment. Her bookshelf reflects her curiosity. Her music reflects her mood. Her surroundings reflect her standards. She invests in knowledge, wisdom, and exposure because she knows that ignorance is not bliss, it is bondage. She is not content with being informed, she wants to be transformed, and transformation starts with renewing the mind. She is not paranoid, but she is discerning. She understands that influence is subtle. That the things you laugh at today may be the things you accept tomorrow. That if she watches dysfunction long enough, she may begin to normalize it. So she draws lines. She sets boundaries, not because she is judgmental, but because she is intentional. Her focus is too valuable to be scattered by distractions. Her purpose is too weighty to be diluted by noise. She knows that a disciplined mind creates a disciplined life, and a disciplined life leads to clarity, peace, and productivity. Her confidence is not shallow, it is rooted in clarity. She does not wait until she is in a crisis to guard her thoughts. She builds a fortress before the storm arrives. She fills her mind with truth before lies can take root. She meditates on wisdom so that when challenges come, her responses are not reactions. They are reflections of her preparation. A highly intelligent woman does not measure her value by how many people approve of her or applaud her. She has outgrown the need for validation from the crowd because she understands that applause is fleeting, but purpose is eternal. She is not interested in being liked if it requires her to compromise who she is or dilute what she was born to do. The direction of her life is not guided by trends or noise, but by conviction. Her choices are not determined by the latest wave of popularity, but by alignment with the deep sense of purpose she carries within her. She wakes up every day with a sense of assignment. She understands that her life is not an accident but an answer to a problem in the world. That understanding alone changes how she moves, what she invests her time in, and what she says no to. When other people are chasing influence, she is chasing impact. When others are seeking fame, she is seeking fruit. Her focus is not on being seen, but on being significant. She does not need a stage to know she matters. She understands that true greatness is not always visible. This woman has studied the difference between movement and progress. She knows that being busy does not mean being effective. She can walk away from opportunities that others would jump at, not because they aren't good, but because they aren't aligned. She filters everything through the question, does this move me toward purpose? And if the answer is no, she lets it go without guilt. She is not driven by fear of missing out because she knows that when you are in alignment with your calling, nothing truly meant for you can pass you by. She chooses depth over display. In a world that rewards image, she invests in substance. She doesn't perform to gain attention, she builds to create impact. Her presence is powerful not because she demands the room's attention, but because her clarity carries authority. She is not in competition with others because she understands that her assignment is unique. What she carries cannot be copied, and what she was born to build does not require comparison. She has learned to be okay with misunderstanding. She understands that when you live for purpose, not everyone will get it. Some will misinterpret her silence as pride, her focus as arrogance, or her standards as judgment. But she is not shaken by misinterpretation. She has learned that destiny requires her to be more committed to vision than to being liked. She would rather be misunderstood on the path to purpose than be celebrated on the path to compromise. She does not shape her identity around social media, public opinion, or cultural expectations. She is anchored internally. Her worth is not based on how many followers she has, but how faithfully she follows her inner compass. She is not swayed by applause or discouraged by silence. She knows that applause can be loud and empty, while purpose can be quiet and powerful. And so, she has trained herself to walk confidently in the quiet. Her confidence is rooted in obedience to her calling. She is not perfect, but she is committed. She falls, but she does not stay down. She recalibrates, refocuses, and keeps moving forward. She does not compete for attention. She prepares for assignment. Her wardrobe is not just fashion, it is armor. Her words are not just communication, they are strategy. Her time is not just routine, it is investment. She listens more than she speaks because she values wisdom more than applause. She moves with intention, not urgency. She builds quietly, knowing that purpose is not built overnight. Her relationships, her work, her decisions, all reflect that she is not living to impress, but to fulfill. A highly intelligent woman understands that emotions are powerful tools, but dangerous masters. She does not deny her emotions, nor does she suppress them. Instead, she studies them, listens to them, and then disciplines them. She recognizes that being emotional is part of being human, but being ruled by emotion is a threat to wisdom, peace, and progress. Her strength lies in her ability to feel deeply without allowing those feelings to dictate every word, action, or decision. She has learned that wisdom and emotion must walk together, but wisdom must always lead. She is not emotionally numb, she is emotionally mature. She cries when she needs to, but her tears do not make her fragile. Her moments of vulnerability are not signs of weakness, but indicators of depth. She has capacity to feel pain, frustration, disappointment, and even anger, without allowing those emotions to harden her spirit or poison her perspective. Her emotional intelligence is not seen in her ability to avoid conflict, but in her ability to manage it with grace and clarity. She pays attention to her emotional triggers. She knows that unmanaged triggers can destroy relationships, cloud decisions, and sabotage opportunities. So she invests time in self-awareness. She studies herself. She reflects. She listens to what her reactions are trying to teach her. When she feels jealousy, she investigates the insecurity behind it. When she feels anger, she examines the wound beneath it. When she feels anxious, she looks for the false belief that may be feeding it. She does not simply react. She responds with understanding. This woman chooses her words carefully, especially when emotions are high. She knows that words spoken in a moment of emotional frenzy can damage trust, disrupt peace, or shift the course of destiny. She takes time to pause, breathe, and think before she speaks. She does not allow temporary emotion to create permanent consequences. Her silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Her delay in response is not avoidance, it is wisdom in action. She knows that emotional discipline is not just about restraint, but about redirection. She practices emotional boundaries. She knows when to step away from chaos and when to engage with compassion. She knows when to hold space for others and when to protect her own. She is not driven by the desire to please everyone because she knows that in trying to manage other people's emotions, she might neglect her own. Her kindness is not confusion. She is gentle but not naive. She can love deeply and still say no. She can forgive and still establish distance. She can show mercy without losing her standards. She does not use her emotions as weapons. She does not manipulate through tears, guilt, or silence. She does not punish others by withholding affection or connection. She believes in honesty, not emotional control. Her communication is clear even when it's uncomfortable. She does not expect others to read her mind, nor does she assume the worst from them. She values emotional clarity because confusion creates distance, and she is intentional about cultivating relationships that are rooted in truth. This woman is not easily offended. She understands that offense is often a choice. She practices empathy, not because others always deserve it, but because she understands the power of perspective. She knows that most anger stems from pain and most pride from fear. She chooses to see beyond the surface. She does not allow every slight, comment, or misunderstanding to enter her heart. She filters offense through the lens of maturity and lets go of what does not deserve her energy. She sees emotional mastery as part of leadership. Whether she is raising children, building a business, mentoring others, or making major decisions, she knows that composure is credibility. The way she carries herself in moments of tension determines whether others trust her with more responsibility. She prepares for pressure by training herself to remain calm, not because she feels calm, but because she chooses to be led by wisdom rather than emotion. A highly intelligent woman understands the power and necessity of solitude. She does not run from silence, nor does she fear being alone with her thoughts. Instead, she embraces solitude as a sacred space, a place where her soul can breathe, her mind can clear, and her spirit can recalibrate. She has come to realize that silence is not emptiness, it is richness. It is in these quiet moments that she reconnects with her essence, evaluates her direction, and nurtures the depth that is often drowned out by the noise of everyday life. She does not equate solitude with loneliness. She has learned that being alone does not mean being isolated. It means being in tune with the deeper rhythms of her own life. She sees solitude as a tool for restoration, not as a sentence of separation. It is during these moments of intentional withdrawal that she gathers strength, regains perspective, and often hears the whispers of wisdom that are muffled in crowds. She understands that solitude is not about disconnection from the world, but reconnection with herself. In solitude, she meets her thoughts without distraction. She listens to the unspoken fears, unexpressed hopes, and unexplored ideas that surface only in stillness. She writes, she reads, she reflects, not to escape from reality, but to deepen her understanding of it. She creates room for creativity to flourish because she knows that vision rarely grows in chaos. It requires quiet to take shape, to mature, and to unfold. Solitude becomes her workshop where purpose is refined and direction becomes clearer. She is not addicted to movement. She does not need to constantly be surrounded by people or activities to feel alive. She knows that overexposure can drain her and that some of her greatest breakthroughs have come in seasons of hiddenness. She does not fear missing out because she has learned that what is truly for her will not pass her by while she is being still. She does not chase noise for validation. She chooses quiet for cultivation. She uses solitude to process emotions, review decisions, and recalibrate her values. When life feels overwhelming, she doesn't always run to others first. She retreats into solitude to first check in with herself. She understands that many mistakes are made when one reacts before reflecting, and solitude gives her the space to reflect deeply. She asks herself hard questions, confronts uncomfortable truths, and allows herself to be honest without judgment. This practice gives her a groundedness that is not easily shaken by the opinions or expectations of others. She doesn't need a crowd to affirm her value. In solitude, she reminds herself of who she is without applause. She rehearses truth until it becomes her internal narrative. She practices gratitude, builds self-discipline, and strengthens her resolve in quiet moments. This inward work becomes the unseen foundation that supports the visible parts of her life. She understands that public strength is built in private stillness. She is strategic about solitude. She carves out time for it even when life gets busy. She schedules silence the way others schedule meetings, because she understands that her inner world must be prioritized if her outer world is going to flourish. She is not afraid to unplug, disconnect, and withdraw for a while, because she knows that even the most powerful voices need time to be silent in order to stay sharp and aligned. She honors solitude as sacred time. She does not waste it scrolling, comparing, or numbing herself. Instead, she leans into it with intention. Whether she is sitting in quiet prayer, journaling her thoughts, or simply breathing deeply in a peaceful space, she is using that time to become more focused, more centered, more aligned with the woman she is becoming. She knows that in a noisy world, the most radical thing she can do is be still enough to hear her own truth again. A highly intelligent woman is defined not only by what she knows, but by her hunger to keep growing. She is a lifelong learner, not out of obligation but out of revelation. She understands that to remain relevant, effective, and impactful, she must remain teachable. Her mind is never closed. She is not satisfied with surface-level understanding, nor does she assume that what worked yesterday is sufficient for today. She seeks insight, knowledge, and deeper comprehension because she knows that ignorance in any area of life can become a limitation in every area of life. She reads with intention, listens with curiosity, and asks questions that go beyond what is obvious. Her learning is not limited to classrooms or formal education. She learns from books, conversations, documentaries, experiences, failures, and even from the quiet observations of life happening around her. She understands that wisdom is not always packaged in prestige. Sometimes it comes through unexpected people, unconventional paths, and uncomfortable truths. Her humility allows her to learn from those who know more, and her discernment allows her to filter what aligns with her values and vision. This woman is never intimidated by what she does not know. Instead, she is motivated by it. When faced with a new challenge, she does not shrink back in insecurity. She leans in with a mindset of growth. She understands that mastery is a process and that every expert was once a beginner. Her identity is not tied to appearing perfect. It is anchored in becoming better. She is not afraid to say, "I don't know," because she sees that phrase not as an end but as a beginning of deeper understanding. She invests in her growth. She is willing to spend time, energy, and resources on her development. She sees learning not as an expense but as a seed. She understands that what she sows into her mind will eventually show up in her results, her relationships, and her reach. She takes courses, attends workshops, reads widely, and listens to those whose wisdom challenges her to stretch. She does not just want to know more. She wants to be more, and she knows that becoming more requires her to be exposed to more than what she is used to. She does not learn only for herself. She knows that the wisdom she gains is meant to be multiplied. She shares what she learns. She teaches, mentors, pours into others, not from a place of superiority, but from a place of service. She believes that knowledge should never become stagnant. It should flow through her, not just to her. Her learning fuels her contribution to the lives of others, and she sees every conversation, every interaction, as an opportunity to both teach and be taught. She is not driven by trends but by truth. She does not consume information passively. She discerns what is valuable and what is noise. She is not overwhelmed by the abundance of content available to her. She curates what she allows into her space because she knows that not all knowledge leads to wisdom. She prioritizes depth over distraction. Her learning is intentional, directed by the question, "What do I need to know to fulfill my purpose more effectively?" Her commitment to growth is visible in how she handles change. She adapts with grace because her mind is flexible. She welcomes innovation, explores new ideas, and stays relevant in a constantly shifting world. She does not cling to outdated methods simply because they are familiar. She evaluates, evolves, and expands. She is a student of life, and she learns from every season. Success and failure, joy and pain, clarity and confusion. She understands that every experience carries a lesson if she is willing to pay attention and apply it. A highly intelligent woman understands the significance of managing her time and energy with intentionality. She knows that her days are not just filled with hours, but with opportunities, and each moment carries the potential to build or to waste, to plant or to postpone. She has come to realize that busyness is not the same as productivity, and productivity is not the same as purpose. She is not simply trying to do more. She is focused on doing what matters most. Her calendar reflects her clarity. Her routines are designed to support her vision, not distract from it. She is deliberate with her commitments. She does not say yes out of guilt or pressure. She understands that every yes is a no to something else, and she wants her yes to align with her values. She is not afraid to disappoint others if it means staying faithful to what she has been called to do. She honors her time as a gift and refuses to let others treat it carelessly. She doesn't just make time for what is urgent. She makes time for what is important, even if it is quiet, unseen, or uncelebrated by the outside world. This woman has learned the discipline of boundaries. She knows that protecting her energy is just as important as managing her schedule. She pays attention to what drains her and what fuels her. She is honest about her capacity. She doesn't pride herself on exhaustion or overwork because she knows that burnout is not a badge of honor. Rest is part of her rhythm, not a luxury she earns only after collapsing. She plans her rest, her reflection, her replenishment, because she understands that sustained excellence requires intentional renewal. She embraces structure not as limitation, but as liberation. Her systems help her stay focused. Her habits build momentum. She uses tools, lists, and schedules not because she is obsessed with control, but because she is committed to excellence. She has learned that clarity and consistency produce results. She doesn't leave her days to chance. She stewards them with wisdom. Whether she is leading a team, raising children, launching a project, or working on herself, she applies the same level of diligence and intentionality. She knows the difference between being available and being accessible. She doesn't allow every notification, message, or request to dictate her day. She sets boundaries around her focus time, her creative hours, and even her moments of rest. She turns off the noise so she can hear her own thoughts. She knows that constantly reacting to the needs of others can rob her of the stillness required for her best ideas. She prioritizes deep work, strategic thinking, and moments of solitude because she understands that true breakthroughs require uninterrupted attention. Her time is governed by purpose. She starts her day with intention, not with chaos. She centers herself in clarity before she moves into action. She reviews her goals regularly, not just to check boxes, but to remain aligned with her greater vision. She is not afraid to adjust, pivot, or eliminate what no longer serves her. She is not loyal to routines that no longer produce results. Her flexibility is guided by focus. She evaluates her progress not by how much she has done, but by how aligned her actions are with her ultimate purpose. She does not compare her pace with others. She knows that the race is not to the swift, but to the steady. She refuses to be rushed by other people's timelines. She moves at the speed of grace, determined, focused, unhurried. She understands that some things take time to grow, and that pressure can lead to premature decisions. She honors process. She respects timing. She does not chase every opportunity. She selects them with wisdom, knowing that doing the right thing at the wrong time can be just as costly as doing the wrong thing altogether. A highly intelligent woman is not defined by intellect alone, but by how she stewards her mind, her emotions, her time, her values, and her growth. She is guided by purpose, rooted in wisdom, and committed to becoming, not just achieving. Her life is not a performance but a reflection of deep internal clarity. She lives with conviction, cultivates emotional discipline, embraces solitude, commits to growth, and moves with intentionality. In a world that often celebrates noise, image, and speed, she chooses stillness, depth, and alignment. Her intelligence is not loud. It is precise, it is principled, and it is powerful. And through the quiet consistency of her life, she becomes a force, not because she demands attention, but because she walks in purpose with unwavering focus.